Hi all, I forgot to show this clip during the lecture yesterday. This is about Fellruin Trio, and it's just going to be a recording of a duty recorder replay, so it's not actual live gameplay. The first thing you want to do as soon as the bosses reappear is to find Bahamut and find Nail. This can happen in either order, but let's just say we're finding Bahamut first. This Bahamut will be our new relative north, where the party Neuralink that the party wants to go to later is going to be always opposite of Bahamut. This is important for etheric perfusion, where if you take the etheric perfusion outside of the Neuralink, you will die. So you want to have your assigned Neuralinks. Then, at the same time, there's going to be Tempest Wing tethers later, which need to be taken by the tanks. And then, since you need to be inside the Neuralink to safely take the etheric perfusion, the tanks will have to have their own Neuralinks. In this case, left one tank will take the left Neuralink facing Bahamut, and right one tank will take the right Neuralink facing Bahamut. The other thing is to look at Nail. She's going to cast a quote. This is one of two variations, which is descend, moon, stars, spread, in, then spread. The other variation is moon, descend, and stars, which is in, spread, then spread. It's important to note that the etheric perfusion happens between the second and third part of the quote. So, since the last part of the quote is also always the same, it's always going to be stars to bring, people usually just omit that part. So they say the first two parts, descend and moon, so spread then in. Again, the other variation will be in then spread. So once we have the two things, we want to resolve whichever quote she does. So in this case, it's going to be spread first. It's important to note in NA, we spread around the center. This gives the tanks as much leeway as possible to run towards their Neuralink. So this isn't really a strict spread. You can kind of move around a little bit and, make space as needed, but generally try to keep this formation around the center. It's most important for the tanks to be in front, to be spread in front of the party, because this will make taking the Tempest Wing tether a lot easier. So the Nail does the dive, and you can see here with our spreads, with the tanks closest to to Bahamut, this makes it a lot easier for us to intercept the tethers. Another thing is that the party should be kind of behind the tanks, with the tanks in front, to be able to intercept the tether during the end. At this point, we already have the tethers, so it's not needed, but it makes it a lot easier. So just try to be behind the tanks relative to Bahamut. Helps a lot. During this point, everybody's making their way towards the towards Nail for the inn. And then this is the second part of the quote already, right? So after the second part of the quote, there's going to be an etheric perfusion. All players go towards their respective Neuralinks, with party always being opposite of Bahamut, and the tanks taking their respective left and right Neuralinks. After the etheric perfusion, there's going to be a spread, Rain of Star Spring, right? So there's a couple things going on here that I want to go through. So first off, in normal PF Prio, the regen healer would stay inside the Neuralink, and the shield healer will go to the center of the arena. This is not a strict requirement. You can discuss with your co-healer, so it's completely fine what they're doing right now, as long as you're not overlapping. The big thing, though, that is kind of incorrect is that this Dragoon is not in melee range. As a melee, you want to be close to the boss and hitting the boss. Like, that's usually how spreads resolve, with the melee on the boss and then the range, like somewhere in ranged and outside of melee range, right? So in this place, the Dragoon spread towards the Astro, and they got really lucky here. Only the Astro got the spread. The Dragoon didn't get the spread, but they also got hit, as you can see here. In the case if the Dragoon didn't get the spread, both the Astro and the Dragoon would be dead. So really, really important. Be very, very predictable during spreads, or even in general in this game. Being predictable is a very, very strong thing. The other thing is that you can see here, the Summoner and Bard kind of spread towards the same direction. It's kind of hard to see. Okay, there we go. Ideally, you just lean towards your quick march spot. So I don't really know which one is right, which one is left, but there should be one southwest-ish here. It doesn't have to be all the way southwest. Like, Summoner's a little far for healing from the Scholar and Astro. Ideally, I would be somewhere around the Bard's range, and then mirrored if you're like L4 or something. So that's something to keep in track. You want to be far or spread, but also close enough to your healers so that you won't miss heals. The last thing I wanted to talk about the spread is that the tanks can also opt to move northwest and northeast relative to the boss for spreads, and then the melees can be southwest and southeast. This gives a little bit more space for the center healer, and also it doesn't put a DPS opposite of the boss where they may miss heals. So I believe like this is a slightly better configuration for spreads, if possible. Anyway, as soon as the spreads happen, everybody should make their way in to catch heals for this upcoming Giga Flare. And finally, the tank should face Bahamut away, in this case, for the Flare Breath that happens immediately after. That'll be all for this clip. Thank you for watching.